Imagine a stormy night, with thunder rumbling in the distance. Rain pours down heavily, drenching the village roads. As John's family piles into the car, the rain intensifies, creating a tense, eerie atmosphere. Moments later, as they drive down a winding village road, the brakes suddenly fail. An unbelievable thing happened. In the heart of a verdant African landscape lay a village known as Ogul. This village, though small, was marked by its vibrant spirit, strong traditions, and unity. Ogul had the good fortune of being under the wise leadership of Chief Benjamin, a man whose name was synonymous with kindness and wealth. His reputation stretched far beyond the village, and his contributions and generosity became a source of pride for the villagers. Chief Benjamin was married to Ezin, a woman of both beauty and virtue. Her lineage came from a prominent family, revered for their wisdom and grace. Together, they had 4 daughters, with Agnes, their firstborn, being the pride of the family. Agnes was not only stunningly beautiful but also possessed a sharp mind and a gentle heart. The villagers adored her for her compassionate nature and for the kindness she extended to everyone, regardless of status. She was often seen helping elderly villagers with daily chores or tutoring children in the evenings. Her kindness seemed boundless, and it was said that anyone who spoke ill of her would be immediately shunned by the community. As the years passed, Chief Benjamin's business ventures flourished. His acumen in trade and investments brought wealth not only to his family but to the entire village. He had built relationships with powerful figures in neighboring regions, and his ventures in agriculture, livestock, and exports were thriving. It was clear to everyone that Chief Benjamin's heart was as vast as his fortune. Unlike other wealthy landowners who sought to amass wealth without giving back, Benjamin used his resources to uplift the youth, sponsoring many for education and providing funds for those who wished to start their own trades. As a result of his generosity, young men and women in the village saw a future beyond traditional farming. Some went on to become teachers, nurses, and tradesmen, further enriching the village's social and economic fabric. Chief Benjamin's vision extended beyond his immediate family, and he dreamed of a prosperous community where every household could thrive. The chief's family lived in an impressive estate on the outskirts of the village, surrounded by lush gardens and beautiful orchards. This estate became a hub of activity, as villagers often gathered there to celebrate festivals, resolve disputes, and discuss village matters. Chief Benjamin's home was open to all, and it was not uncommon to see people from nearby villages visiting to seek his advice or blessings. Ezin, Benjamin's wife, ran the household with grace, ensuring every visitor felt welcomed and every meal served with warmth. One day, during a particularly festive season, Chief Benjamin called for a meeting with the village elders and the king. As the council gathered in the open courtyard of the king's palace, the chief announced his plans to build a large company that would employ hundreds of villagers. His voice was steady and hopeful as he outlined his vision. This company will not only provide jobs, but it will be a beacon for others to come, to invest, to believe in the potential of Ogul. A murmur of excitement swept through the elders. To them, this sounded almost like a dream, a promise that would elevate their village to unimaginable heights. Benjamin continued, 300 of these positions will be reserved for our own people. And, to honor their commitment, 20 official cars will be allocated to ensure ease of transportation for our senior staff. He paused, observing the astonished faces of the elders and the king, who could barely hide his admiration. However, Elder Okeke, a wise but cautious man, raised a pertinent question. Chief Benjamin, your heart is big, and your vision grand. But where will you build such a place? As you know, our lands are occupied, and there's no reserved space. The king intervened, stating with determination, we cannot let this opportunity pass. I will see to it that land is made available for this purpose. This is a blessing we cannot afford to miss. The announcement caused a stir among the villagers. News of Chief Benjamin's plans spread quickly, and families gathered that evening, eagerly discussing the potential transformation of their humble village. Many felt a renewed sense of pride and hope, seeing themselves not just as villagers but as citizens of a place that would soon become renowned. Yet, in the midst of this overwhelming support, two elders remained silent. Their faces betrayed their reluctance, but they held their reservations close, unwilling to voice them publicly. In the coming weeks, Benjamin, true to his word, began acquiring the necessary land, offering double the value to each owner. While most were thrilled at the prospect of their village's growth, a few whispered doubts. Some speculated that such rapid change could disrupt their simple way of life, while others worried about losing traditional lands that had been in families for generations. Among the landowners was Opoka, Benjamin's relative. Unlike others, Opoka saw the transaction not as an opportunity but as a personal affront. His land had sentimental value, as it had been passed down through generations, from his grandfather to his father, and now to him. To Opoka, this land represented his heritage, his connection to his ancestors, and he wanted to preserve it for his son, John. John was a well-educated young man, but despite his qualifications, he struggled to find stable employment. Chief Benjamin, aware of John's potential, offered him a prominent position in the new company as a production manager. This role came with a handsome salary and one of the coveted official cars. John was overjoyed, seeing this as a turning point in his life. He expressed his gratitude to his cousin and promised to work diligently to honor the family legacy. However, when Opoka learned about John's appointment, his reaction was one of bitterness. The compensation he had received for his land did little to soothe the wound. In his mind, Chief Benjamin's project was a betrayal, an act that disregarded the significance of ancestral land. In a heated exchange with John, he voiced his grievances. This land was to be yours, John. It is not just soil, it is our bloodline, our history. You may be content with your position and your salary, but you must understand the gravity of what we have lost. John tried to calm his father, offering to share a portion of his salary every month to appease him. Father, I understand what this land means to you, but think about what we've gained. I have a secure job, and we can finally build a future without financial worry. Let go of the past and see what lies ahead, he pleaded. But Opoka was unmoved. Money cannot replace legacy, he replied coldly. He dismissed John's assurances and began harboring a deep-seated resentment toward Benjamin. Consumed by anger and jealousy, Opoka decided to take matters into his own hands, seeking vengeance against the cousin he believed had wronged him. Blinded by bitterness, Opoka embarked on a path he would soon regret. Late one night, under the cover of darkness, he traveled to a neighboring village known for its mystical traditions. There, he sought out a native doctor reputed for his power over the supernatural. When he finally met the native doctor, he did not mince words. I want Benjamin's family destroyed, he demanded. They have taken what is rightfully ours, and for that they must pay. The native doctor regarded Opoka carefully, sensing the darkness that clouded his heart. Vengeance is not a path taken lightly, Okpoka. There is always a cost, the doctor warned. But Okpoka, driven by his hatred, was unfazed. Name your price, and I will pay it. Just give me the means to see them suffer, he insisted. The native doctor eventually relented and prepared a potent charm designed to sow discord and misfortune in Benjamin's family. However, he warned Okpoka, Chief Benjamin's spirit is strong. He is protected by the goodwill of many. If you persist beyond this, you may face dire consequences. Ignoring the warning, Okpoka took the charm back to the village, convinced that he had set in motion the destruction of Benjamin's family. A few weeks later, Benjamin announced plans for the family to visit the village for the Christmas celebration. They set off in high spirits, unaware of the malevolent forces that had been summoned against them. Tragically, their journey was cut short by a horrific accident. The vehicle somersaulted multiple times, claiming the lives of Benjamin's wife, Ezin, and 3 of their daughters. Only Benjamin and Agnes survived, though they were left scarred and broken. Benjamin lost his sight, while Agnes suffered a traumatic brain injury that left her altered forever. News of the accident spread like wildfire, plunging the village into mourning. The once joyous family was now a shadow of its former self, and the villagers could hardly believe the tragedy that had befallen them. In the days that followed, Benjamin's estate fell silent, a somber reminder of the devastation. Villagers gathered to offer their condolences, but whispers of suspicion began to circulate. Some wondered if the accident had been mere misfortune, while others suspected darker forces at play. John, devastated by the loss, began to question his father's involvement. He recalled their last conversation, the bitterness in Okpoka's voice, and the unyielding anger that had clouded his judgment. A chilling realization began to dawn. John could not shake the feeling that his father, Okpoka, might have been involved in the tragic accident. The pieces were coming together in his mind, the bitter arguments, his father's resentment over the land, and the odd trips Okpoka had taken to the neighboring village. Yet, John was hesitant to confront him directly. He was torn between his love for his father and the horrifying suspicion gnawing at him. A few days after the accident, John decided to visit his father. He entered their family compound, his mind heavy with questions, while Okpoka sat quietly, looking as though he hadn't slept in days. As John approached, his father averted his gaze, refusing to meet his son's questioning eyes. "Father," John began carefully, "I want to know the truth. Did you have anything to do with the misfortunes that have befallen Chief Benjamin and his family?" Okpoka was silent for a long moment, his hands trembling. At last, he replied, his voice low and filled with regret, "Son, some things are better left unspoken. Let this matter rest." But John was not satisfied. His anger rose as he pressed his father. "Father, this is no longer about land or pride. People have died. Our family is haunted by the consequences of your decisions. Tell me the truth." Unable to contain his guilt any longer, Okpoka broke down and confessed everything. He told John about his visits to the native doctor, his request to harm Benjamin's family, and how he had let bitterness consume him. John, horrified and heartbroken, stared at his father in disbelief. "How could you, Father? How could you destroy our family for the sake of land that we have already gained so much from? This was supposed to be a blessing, not a curse," John said, his voice breaking. In his guilt, Okpoka fell to his knees, begging his son for forgiveness. But John, overcome with grief, left the house without another word, leaving his father to confront his own remorse and self-loathing. Meanwhile, Agnes, the surviving daughter of Chief Benjamin, struggled to cope with the trauma of the accident. Her once brilliant mind had been clouded, her vibrant spirit dulled by the immense loss. Villagers visited the family regularly, praying for Benjamin's healing and for Agnes's recovery, but the damage seemed irreparable. One rainy evening, as John visited Benjamin's home to pay his respects, an unexpected turn of events unfolded. John's car had broken down, and Benjamin, in an act of kindness, offered John the use of his own car. Little did they know that the curse laid on Benjamin's car by Okpoka was still in effect, awaiting an opportunity to unleash its deadly consequences. As John drove home in Benjamin's car, he began to feel uneasy, as though a dark presence was following him. Suddenly, the brakes failed, and the car veered off the road, rolling several times. In an instant, John, his wife, and his children were all killed in the crash. When Okpoka received news of his son's death, he was devastated. The pain of losing his only child was a blow that shattered his very spirit. In his grief, Okpoka ran into the village square, shouting incoherently, "I am to blame. I have brought ruin upon us all." His confession stunned the villagers, who gathered to listen as Okpoka revealed the full extent of his dark deeds. He cried out, "I allowed envy and pride to consume me, to turn me against my own family. In my anger, I saw destruction, and now I have lost everything." As he spoke, his voice broke, and his body seemed to weaken under the weight of his sins. The village elders, moved by the tragedy that had befallen both families, summoned the king to hear Okpoka's confession. The king, upon learning of Okpoka's deeds, was overcome with sorrow and anger. The king spoke sternly, "Okpoka, your actions have brought immense suffering upon this village and upon innocent lives. We cannot reverse what has been done, but we will remember this lesson: envy and hatred only lead to destruction." 2 days later, Okpoka fell ill. His strength waned quickly, and his health deteriorated. The villagers believed his illness was a consequence of his evil actions, a punishment from the spirits he had tried to control. Racked with guilt, Okpoka spent his final days in solitude, reflecting on the choices that had led to his downfall. As time passed, Chief Benjamin continued to heal physically, though the scars of loss would forever mark his heart. With his sight partially restored, he devoted himself to the remaining family he had left and to the villagers who had stood by him through his grief. Agnes, though forever changed, found solace in her father's care and the support of the community. To honor the memories of his loved ones and to ensure that others would not suffer from the same fate, Chief Benjamin established a new initiative within the village. He called it the Unity Foundation, a fund dedicated to providing education and support to young villagers, promoting values of kindness, generosity, and forgiveness. This foundation served as a reminder of the dangers of envy and the power of unity, teaching future generations to embrace love and avoid the pitfalls of jealousy. The villagers, moved by Chief Benjamin's resilience and commitment, contributed to the foundation, offering resources and volunteering to mentor the youth. With the community's support, the Unity Foundation grew, attracting attention from neighboring villages and eventually becoming a model for social and educational initiatives across the region. As years went by, Agnes grew into a role within the foundation, using her limited abilities to inspire young girls and boys with tales of resilience and forgiveness. Though she would never fully recover, Agnes found peace in helping others, and her gentle spirit reminded the villagers of the kindness and generosity her family had always embodied. Benjamin, now an elder in the village, watched as his community thrived, a testament to the sacrifices his family had made. He had transformed his pain into a force for good, building a legacy that would last for generations. And so, Ogul village continued to flourish, guided by the lessons of its past. The story of Chief Benjamin and his family, of Okpoka's envy and its tragic consequences, became a cautionary tale, passed down through generations as a reminder of the values that held the community together. Moral of the story: the tale of Chief Benjamin, Agnes, John, and Okpoka became more than just a village story. It became a moral lesson that reminded everyone of the power of forgiveness, the consequences of unchecked envy, and the importance of unity. Through his pain, Chief Benjamin taught the village a valuable lesson, that healing is possible, even in the face of unimaginable loss, and that the true wealth of a community lies not in material possessions, but in love, trust, and mutual respect. Thank you for watching this story. If you found this tale inspiring and meaningful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Tales Roots for more stories of courage, morality, and African heritage. Leave a comment with your thoughts and lessons learned. Together, let's keep the spirit of storytelling alive. We love you all.